So I have a little story for everybody that happened today. I was out for, well, let's start it here. I was at my mother's house watching my daughter, and I started having uncontrollable gas. This happens to me sometimes. Now this, like, for me, sometimes gas will be like, whatever. But this time in particular, you know how usually you're okay with your own farts? Like, they're just kind of like, yeah, I can deal with it. Or whatever they say. These were like, oh, I gotta leave the room. Now. Yeah, I had to leave the room. I walked outside to try to get it all out. Because, my mom was complaining. And, my daughter kept on saying, like, "Ooh, Daddy farted," and I'm like, I don't need to, I can just walk outside, Anyway, I'm over at her house. This is very important to the story because after this, I go home and I use the restroom and I go for a run. I don't have the runs. I went for a run. I ran 4 miles, but you'll get into that in a minute. I got on to 18th Avenue. It's right off of 30th Street where I live. And I am running eastbound. Not eastbound and down. Does that be like northeast? Or, yeah, because the hill. Anyway, I'm running eastbound on 38th Street. You staying with me, right? Everybody here knows the map of Rock Island pretty well, right? Anyway, I take a right, and I'm running. Everything's fine. It's a little bit humid, sweating a lot. That's good. It's going to burn me some more calories, give me, I don't know what it does for you. But before this run, I had just eaten some beef jerky and drank some Dr. Pepper, which might be important to the story. Just keep it in mind. I don't want you getting lost. So I'm eastbound, and then I turn right to go southbound. Northeast, right to go southbound. Right, I go for about a mile. So I would, down the road, pretty uneventful. I didn't see any wacky cars or people with weird hats or a fist fight or anything like that because this is a good side of Rock Island. So I keep on running all the way down. And eventually, I get to a point where I get to 31st Avenue and I take a right. So now I'm heading west, back towards my house. Actually, it's a fourplex. But anyway, at this point, everything is still going fine. Now, I get to a point where I think I can either turn right and run 1 more mile directly back to my house, fourplex, whatever, or I can keep going straight and add an extra mile to my run, making 2 miles combined. So it's a half mile, and then you turn right and that's another mile, and then you come back for another half mile. Nothing was wrong at this point, except for the gnats were kind of getting to me a little bit, but I thought, you know what, I'm all sweaty, and by the time they land in my hair, they're pretty much dead, so I'm just kind of like, flicking some gnats off. Whatever. And then, I choose the extra mile. Also very important to the story, and you'll see why later. Are you with me? I go straight on 31st Avenue. I should have mentioned that before. I'm on 31st Avenue now. Some of you might have already known that, especially you out-of-towners. I know a lot of people from Iowa. They would know this perfect. So anyway, Rock Island's not in Iowa, it's in Illinois. Anyway, I'm going straight. Then I take a right on the 24th Street. I don't live on 24th Street. I live a half mile away from 24th Street. Also very important to the story. I keep running I turn on 24th Street. I get about halfway down 24th Street. I have about a mile left, You remember that mile that I could have cut short? All of a sudden, like here's my butt, right? I have it pretty straight because I don't really have a big butt. I have a it's pretty much non-existent. I'm like that Hank Hill booty, right? And so like imagine that this is my butt and this is my bowels. The poop goes like, and then it's like sticking out like that, right? Just barely, like an iceberg tip, and I'm like, oh. So I start doing this clenched butt cheek power walk all the way home. I'm trying not to let it all out. And then the gnats are still getting on me. I'm still wiping them off while I'm trying to do this power walk. I can't run anymore because I have to poop, and I'm not, like, if I start running, so it's not urgent. It's solid. You know, if it was diarrhea, I would have just went straight to my mom's because that was only about 6 or 7 blocks away at that point. Instead, I went home. You know, I had a little bit of ways to go home, and so I take some back roads. I get home, sit down. I'm on the toilet, drenched in sweat, on the toilet. And then there's all these gnats, these insects on me, and I'm like rubbing my head, and you can see my hair's not that long. There were like 7 dead gnats in my hair, and they were bugging the shit out of me.